So we are very much into our week 11, and I am expecting that you people have gone through all those, material that we have discussed till last week. I'll have just a quick review of that. Okay, I'll discuss that. I'll discuss that today. When is the last session and what is remaining, like in terms of assignment and something. We'll just talk about that. Okay, so last few weeks, we were discussing about the HTML forms and things like that. And we have seen that we can have forms, and I have shared few videos with you people. I'm expecting that you had a look at it. Every one of you had a look at that those videos where we were creating forms, and not only creating forms but also styling them by using CSS, and then by using the Bootstrap. Can you please just confirm that, because I'm just trying to figure out if I missed out anything in relation to that. So question number 1, yes, we were discussing the forms, and we have discussed how to create a form. We have discussed what is input and output and input, controls and everything. And then we have talked about towards the end, we have talked about the CSS implementation on the forms. Is that correct? Can anyone please give me a quick feedback, so that I know that where we are, and if there is something left, I can just cover that up today. Yes. So did we do that form in CSS? And I think I shared a video for that one, if you remember, like my own videos, forms in CSS, where we have created a form and we have implemented a CSS. Is that correct? Can you please confirm that? And if you just want to, if I want to remind you something like that we were creating. Okay, thank you very much. I've got the feedback from some people. Okay, so it means that we are very much into that one. And then we talked about the Bootstrap as well. Have we talked about the Bootstrap as well, like changing the form with the Bootstrap? Yes, after this, yes, looks like these were all the previous yeses. So have we discussed that how to do that same styling of the form by using the Bootstrap as well? Can anyone please confirm that? Oh, okay. So yes, I shared a video for that Bootstrap, right? Rest anyone did anyone have a chance to look at that Bootstrap video? Yeah, good. Thank you, Janam. Yes, anyone? Did you have a chance to look at it, other than because you said that you forgot to watch that? There is no response from anyone else. So the answer should be either yes or no. No answer is a bad answer. Yep. Still waiting for the response from the people, because I just want to have a quick response of that. Not yet means okay. That's a good. Not yet. Okay. So why I am asking this, because I will be needing that Bootstrap concept even in fact for this week's topics. So is there anyone who has who had a chance to look at that Bootstrap lecture that I shared with you people? Okay. So Marush says, is it with everyone? My voice is lagging. Okay, Jonas says fine. Anyone else? Okay. Okay. So looks like maybe there was some problem on my side as well, but sometimes someone. Anyhow, so the first best thing that you found over there was the container. You saw, you would have seen in that video that whenever you just implement this container, div container, you see a lots of changing already being done. Likes of padding is already done. Likes of the margining is already done, and things like that. Have you seen that? And then I'm just taking a review again, because I'm anticipating that you people have looked at it, but let's just see a few things. Okay, this is something that I later on added, and I'll just leave it over here. Anyhow, so then you saw that for every form control, what we use is a class is equal to form control, and then that makes our form control as a very a good looking form, something that has more meanings to it attached, right? That is aesthetically. Oh, I'm not screen sharing. I'm sorry. I am sorry. I'm sorry. That's very bad, because I am discussing something from this my screen. I was okay. Not yes. I'm using it from this screen, I'm supposing. Yes. So, okay. So class is equal to container. The first thing that I said that was just changed. And then I see that if for every input box, and even for the labels as well, I've not used the classes for label, but labels also use that same class. That class is equal to form control. We'll see that. So if you just implement this class is equal to form control, which is not a class that we have created, rather it's a class that is coming from the Bootstrap, and we just implement, and our input box start looking like more professional after just implementing that. I am just I'll just run that one as well. Just run that one so that we can see that how it was going on. Okay. All right. So it's here. So you have seen something like this. Okay, there are certain changes in this that I will show you because we have to do that today, but I have already implemented few of them. But this is the type of form that you have seen, right? And this is the type of Bootstrap that has been implemented over there. So it's just showing all those type of things, right? So now you saw that just changing or just adding this class was changing it all the way. So if I come to the other parts, again, we see that form control class is equal to form control was used over there, and this same form control was used. So and then what we did is the other thing that we did was we implemented buttons, the div on those buttons, and then we have implemented the flex class where we are just trying to reverse the buttons, and we were looking at those buttons, and you saw that class, like buttons that were so interesting to make, class btn primary and m-2. Can anyone tell me what is this m-2? I'm just taking a feedback also so that everyone who has seen margining. Yes. So it's very easy to put in a margin in our any of the form control by just putting an M, or MR for margin right, ML for margin left. M means from all sides, right? And the same goes with the padding as well. For the padding, what you do is that you just implement a P, P2, P1, P3, whatever. So it starts like adding on the pads to it as well. So I hope you had a chance to look at it. Now we want to look at some few other things that I have already mentioned over here. Let me just tell you, because it's something few of the things have been changed. Now, if you see here that I've implemented a pattern here. So there are some of the predefined, attributes that HTML5 provides us that we can use. For example, if I say for this class, this first one, like name, given name, if I come here and I write required, I think I mentioned it over there, but if not, I can just show it right now. If I mention it required, and if I run that file again, and I try to send this file data, okay, it should show the message. It looks like I am working in the same file. Maybe I've just done some overriding or something. Am I using any scripts? Because this is the class that we have worked on already. There's no script anyhow. First name has to be the required one. Let me just check that because it should work. It should show that you need to have something over here. Okay, it's not showing anyhow. Let's check with some other one. If I make this email as required, right? Let's see if it works for the email. Interesting. Right, let me check. It is not even doing anything for the email. Let's just select some date, position, ABC, and then send it. Okay, you see here, now it is showing that. So it is supposed to show this message when you have mentioned something with, like, required. For example, it should show this message with this one as well. Let's see why not it's showing. But anyhow, it's showing with that email at least. And when I'm filling that form, so it is just going to do that with my email at least. It is showing that you need to fill in that, right? So basically what it is doing is that one of the feature is that you just write down a required. In the same way, if you see here, I'm, okay, I'm just coming to that. Just hold on. Looks like this question. Yes. So can anyone tell me what type of data I'm looking for here? Can anyone tell me over here? Backslash dot. So pattern. So you are familiar with the patterns? We have talked about regular expressions. Anyone remember that regular expressions we have talked about? In a website, we went there and we tried to create some of the regular expressions, and there you. So you see here, what type of data it is asking for over here? Can anyone tell me? Backslash dot question mark A to Z 3. Can anyone tell me what it will accept? Yeah, and I've given that in the last name, which is very odd right now. But again, I'm just making it just for understanding purpose. I'm just making it like this one. Can anyone tell me what is going on over here? What data it will accept? Okay, so I'm changing my question. A, B, C. Would it accept this one as a pattern? A, B, C, capital A, B, C. Yes. Okay. And what else? Okay. You say any alphanumeric, right? So will it accept 4, like 4 AB? Will it accept 4 AB? No. That's good. That's good. Okay, so that's good, Mark. What else it will accept? Can anyone tell me? Lalim, if you can tell me what else it will accept? Okay, you are right. ABC would be accepted. Even ABC would be accepted. XYZ would be accepted. A to Z, either capital or not. Yes, you are right. But any letters, not 3 letters. That's good. But there is something else as well, which people are missing. There is something else as well. A dot. It is basically for the extension. .exe, .htm, .ml. We are not talking about HTML, or .js. For example, if there is something called JSE or something. So what it will do is that it will accept a dot and an extension. You're getting that? .abc, .xyz, something like .jpg. Yes. So it will accept all those. So basically what it is doing, it says that pattern is equal to this one. So I have given a regular expression over here. That regular expression can match to this pattern. Now what about that? Let's go and do that. So I enter Alan as the first name, and for the last name I am adding Smith, and I'm going into this one, email abc@abc.com. Let's give any random date, select any position, put any data, and then press send. You see what it says? Please match the requested format. And what is the requested format? If I write SMI, would it be accepted? Anyone? SMI. Yes, it should be accepted. It will accept that, right? But and also, as I said, it will also accept .SMI, right? Again, in that extension form. And that is good reason I've used the placeholder also. I've changed that. So I've used the placeholder also. Enter only 3 letters with or without dot. With or without a period. So you can always use these 3 letters. Right? So that is basically our one of the patterns. So you can use pattern with something. This is another form of that. And now I'm about to tell you something very interesting. So if you go into this document, and if you see that this document is coming like this one. So first of all, I want to place this first name and last name in a single row, or maybe email. I want to place these 3 elements in one row. Oh, poor sound again. Poor sound. Is that same with everyone? Poor sound. Okay, sound is fine. Okay, it means that you have internet connection, Maro. There is some problem. Not at all. That's a very good question. Is pattern a bootstrap characteristic or HTML? Who will answer that? Is it HTML characteristics or bootstrap? Can anyone answer me? Can anyone answer me? Is that a bootstrap characteristics or HTML? Yes, HTML. HTML. Why? because it's an attribute. You see, it's an attribute that is coming with the tag. You got the point? So anything that is coming with the tag sign is basically the part of it, and anything which is coming as a class, you see, as a class, for example, form control, class that, class M3, class P2, etc., etc., etc. All those are basically part of the Bootstrap. I hope you got the answer. Right. So what I want over here, I want to place, just let me just show you. I want to place 1, 2, 3. These 3 elements in one row. They are right now in a complete row, and I want to change that form into. So now how I will change that? I'm expecting that you people have already, like, got everything ready with you. I've not discussed this on submit. I'll discuss that one later on. But right now what I'm saying, after the form tag, you come here and you place a div class is equal to row. And let me tell you the shortcut for this as well. Maybe someone will be, and maybe I've told you, if you have to use a div and you have to call a class, you just write dot row and press a tab sign. Got everyone? Dot row and tab sign. But keep in mind, of course, they are saying that it has to be a single word, single name. Otherwise, because that's something that will be follow, we might not be able to do that. Sometimes we are able to do that, but again, need to check out that how we'll do that. Yes, you got everyone? And do it again. I need a row div over here, a div with a class is equal to row, right? So what I'll do is that I'll write dot row and press a tab key. Are you people able to do that? I'm not getting any response. Is that okay? That's good. That's good. That's very good. So you saw that. Okay. Now what we have to do? Press tab. I'm just doing that again. You see, Andre? See here. Dot row, the name of the class with dot, and press a tab, the tab key of your keyboard. Got it? That's okay. Now I don't want div to end here. Rather, I will cut it from here. Cut. And where I have to go? I have to go after the email. So email is ending here. I'm going over there with email. And that is again the help of ESLint, that it would definitely come to its own position, right? So have you done that? Div, and I've placed 3 elements inside that div. So 3 elements in div. Is it work for row interested? Hash row. Let me just see or check that. I have not checked that one, and whether it works for the ID or not. Yes, it works. Thank you. I have not worked with ID mostly. So yes, it works for the ID as well. Thank you for adding that. Yeah. I don't know when you left, so I don't know what you missed. Can you let me know that when did you leave? Like when you left? What you were discussing when you left? Oh, okay. So from that point of time, I think we have discussed few things. So you know what we have done. Let me just quickly repeat that for you. I have just given a quick shortcut key as well to people. I hope you know that, because you already should be familiar. Dot row and press a tab sign, so you know you get a div tag. And someone has added. I am thankful to that I did not do it for ID at any time, but we can do that for ID as well. So if I press hash row and press that tab sign, so you'll get a div with a ID equal to row. That's a good addition. Thank you very much. So you know this is a shortcut, and what we have done, we have discussed this, and what we have discussed, that I have given this div class is equal to row to my first 3 elements. I want these 1, 2, 3 elements to come in a same line. I want them to appear in the same line. You getting my point? I want them to appear in the same line. So that's why I've just given this div class is equal to row to these 3, which they are not coming over there, but I'll just try to. And now what we have to do, for every element, what do you mean by for every element? Like whenever you have got, for example, if I say that you have first element is the first name, right? So we have the first name over here. So what I'll do is that I'll go over there before that, and I'll just place a div, and I will implement a class equal to call form dash group. You would have seen that, and I will show you that as well. And cut the div from here, and where you have to place that, where your first element is ending. First element only, name element. Something like this. What I've done is div class is equal to call form group, and I have placed this div surrounding my first control, the label and the text, everything. Everyone done that? Especially you, Khushwan, because you joined late. Like again, you joined after some discussion. Now, for the next element, I'm again doing the same thing. Div class equal to call form dash group. Make sure the group spelling is correct. Cut that. It is for every, the group that we want to make it. So this is the second group in my row. First group and second group. They are the two groups. And if I just see my document for some minute, you see that two things have come in one. So now we have to go for the third one. Right. So now come to the third one. And here, before our label, I'm saying div and class equal to call form dash group. And cut this div like the ending div and take it to here, because the last div is for the row. And you see that it will just, again, if you have used the ESLint, it will show you that this div is this. And this div is the row div, right? Row is 2. Now, if I save this and run, do you see here? This is something interesting. Now my 3 boxes are coming in same field, like same row. Everyone is able to do that? I have just changed the same form to something different. I need feedback from everyone. I'm not getting feedback. That's good. That's good. You always reply. That's very nice. Nice. Rest. Anyone else? That's good. That's good. So now I'm anticipating that now everyone is with me. So these are few things that we have discussed. Now let's open up the Bootstrap documentation. You see the Bootstrap documentation. Let's talk about that and go to the docs. And if you see here, let's search for something. I want to make radio buttons. So checks and radio buttons. So here are the checkboxes, and here there will be radio buttons. I want to show you something interesting, and we'll create one radio button over here as well, like radio group. So if you see here that these are the radio buttons that we have. So this is default radio, default check radio, something like that. So we have got these radio buttons, and let me just see, there is some more description of these radio buttons as well. Yeah, something like this. So if you want to have these radio buttons in one row, what you do is that you use this inline property of that. Everyone is getting that? So let's try to make these radio buttons over there on our web page. I'll just try to create that radio button on our web page, like on our form. So if you come here, and for example, after this div, like again, this is the div for the first row. The first row is coming ending over here, and this is the same row which contains our 3 elements, right? So here I'm just making another row, same pattern. Now, because I have to add something into it, I'm adding a new element over here, right? So now you can just do that. Same thing, class equal to form, not form, call form group. So second div is started, right? Now I am just taking here, a label, and I don't want it to for. I'm just placing a label. For example, let's call it shift. I'm just placing a shift, and I'll just place 2 shifts, morning, evening, whatever. 2 radio buttons. So I'm just placing a label, and I don't want any like ID for it. Shift. Now here I want to create my checkboxes. So if you see radio buttons, so if you come here and if you see that how to create radio buttons, you need to have a class form check inline, something like that. because I want to create something like this, right? In a same line, in line. So now if you come here and let's start making it. So first of all, what we need is that we need a div. And in this div, I need what? A class equal to, what is that class? If you come here, this one. Just copy this one from here and paste. Right? Form, check, inline. Okay, so now inside this div, what I want to have my checkboxes over here. So you know that the control which is used is same input type, but not text. Rather, what I need is radio. And let's see that it will show it over there, like in my checkboxes and radios. So input type is equal to radio, name is equal to inline radio options, ID is equal to something, value is equal to something. So now there is interesting one. There is value is equal to option one or something, etc. So what I want to do here is that let's copy this one on because we'll be working on that. And even let's copy this all div. But that div would be helping us out here. So I'm just replacing this div with my new div. But now I don't want to show this one. Type is equal to radio. So the thing is type is equal to radio. Class is equal to form check input, right? Name is equal to not initial radio button. For example, I'm taking it for the shift. I want to implement a shift morning and evening, for example. And ID is equal to, for example, you can say you can say morning. And the value is equal to morning. So I've just copied this from there and I am using it. So now if I have given this ID morning, so it means this label should be for morning. And here I'll just place morning. And rest anything I need to change? No, just that is enough for morning entry. It should just show that. So you see that now I have, if you run that, you see that shift morning is coming, and I can select that, and I can just deselect that or whatever. And by the way, if I want this to be selected automatically, what I'll do is that just use here check. I'll just use here a check attribute. And if now you run your file, you will see that it is already checked. Got it? That's very good. Some people are replying. They've got it. Okay, so now let's add one more because I want a morning and evening. And I'll do that. What? I will just take this div from this point to this point, copy this one, and I will just paste this div over here. And what I'll do is that radio is the same, name is the same. For the radio set, name should always be same. I hope you know that. So that make it a group. But ID will be changed now, or maybe I'll say evening, and value should be evening, right? And what is this name and value? Can anyone tell me what is this value? And I will just remove this check from here because I don't want it to be checked. Two values cannot be checked together in a radio button. Why we are using this value? Can anyone tell me value? What importance does this value has? And here also it will come for evening. By the time I'm just typing it, can anyone tell me evening? And I'll change this name to evening as well. Evening. Yes, can anyone tell me what is this value? Or what role this value will play in a web page? That's a $1 million question right now. No idea. Anyone? I'm very happy with you. Whenever you don't know anything, you exactly say no idea. And that's a very good thing. I really appreciate your concern because, it shows your concern for me, at least. So everyone, please, you see that like again. Yes, value. Yes, you're right. Okay, anyone else? What is this value? You're right. What is this value? Like the value that we're talking about. What is this value? What importance does this value has? So you remember, please, you see that we have made two radio buttons and both of them have the name is the same. Shift. You see? Name is equal to shift, name is equal to shift. Do you people see? So when we will submit that data and that data will come to the next page, we'll go to the next page, how we will recognize which option was selected. For that, we use value. So we'll find out which value has come for shift. Either shift is coming with morning or shift is coming with evening. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, that's good. That's good, Andre. That's very nice of you. Okay, so please remember, this is a very good question. Can't we use ID for that? Yes, I will repeat that. I'm repeating for one of the question. Can't we use ID for that? Please remember and keep that in mind. ID is more appropriate or more effectively used in accessing in our JavaScript or CSS. For JavaScript or CSS, we mostly use this ID. But for data submission, for server side, for the other side of the picture, for the other side of the page, we need to have this, like usually we use this name attributes to recognize them. Are you getting that? And there is a logic behind that as well. Yes, thank you. There is a logic behind that as well, because ID, usually we say that ID has to be a unique one, right? ID has to be a unique one, but this name is not supposed to be the unique one for the radio buttons. Yes, for DOM, for JavaScript, for CSS, everything. Yes, you're right. And even for jQuery, which we are not discussing. I hope you know about this jQuery thing. But jQuery is also there. For jQuery also we use this this ID mostly. Got everyone? Anyhow, so now let's move forward. That's good that you people are getting that. So what I've done is that I've placed two checkbox. But you see that they are very much stick to each other. How can I just separate them? Can anyone tell me? How can I separate them? So I have used label for the shift. Should I use a class with the label equal to? What should I do? Class equal to margin. Yes, margin 2. That's very good. Thank you very much. So if I give it a margin 2, margin 3, whatever, it's not margin 2 always. So you see that now it is a bit breathy. Like we can breathe now by looking at it. Morning, evening. So there will be only one selection out of this. This is the radio button. Right? So that's one thing. So there are lots of things that we can do. One of the things that we want to do, let me just show you, and then I'll show you that how we can achieve that. One of the things that you want to do is that something like this. Okay, and then okay, that's enough. I want to see something. To show what I've done. You want to give your user, your viewer, your person who is filling out the form a hint that what are the required. So what you can do is that you can do something like that, or maybe some people prefer the other way as well. What they do is that they will just try to do something like this. Required. But I'll show you that there is another very good way in Bootstrap to show that. But again, we can show that something like this: required, name is required, first name required. Maybe you want to give it required over here or here, whatever. So some people you would find something like that. But have you seen that this color chart, like this asterisk come with all those input elements that you want to show the user that these are the required attributes. And there is one another interesting thing. If you go to this one, and if you go to this utilities and colors, you'll find some utility colors. Even though we can do that with easy way as well, but this is one way I want to tell you that this is a very good way of showing something. So you see text dash danger. There is a class dot text dash danger. So what I want to do, let's see. I wish that you catch it. I have made a span, and I place asterisk over here. I just remove this asterisk, like inside span, and I'm saying class equal to, what is that? What is that class? Text danger. Class is equal to text danger. Save that one. Saved. Now see here, not this one, our form. You see that it's coming in red. Usually it is in red color. Let's paste that one to everyone. Let's copy this one. Every element which is rather span, complete span, I'll copy. every element that we want to be, required. Now you see here, this red color is coming. Right? There is another important thing, and that is called help text. Help text. Let me just find that out. Never help text with the forms. Let me just go to the forms first, and here I need to find help text. Help text never or about history. Why is it not coming in the forms? Let me just see that scrolling. It is not for validation. I think it should be inside validation. Come out help text. I want you to have a help text over here. Maybe sometimes in the utilities, maybe, and sometimes it happens that a few of the latest version of Bootstrap, they are just leaving out the let help text in Bootstrap forms. Right? Let me just quick. Sometimes it happens that it is not in maybe supported in 5, and maybe it was supported 4, because you see that sometimes 4 will show you form controls, because there are few things that are still in use and in help. Okay, help text. This is here. So you see that this is I think Bootstrap 4 maybe, but anyhow this should work with us as well. So this is something called a help text. It's a very interesting one. You see here that with the control, the form control, you see a lighted something is written over there. A lighted something, right? So now, if you see that, what is that class that this is the class that we use. So let me just go back over here. I'll just copy that. And if I want to say, for example, that this position is optional, for example, or maybe date is optional, right? I want to say this date is optional. So you go to your document, go to your date part. There is that date. Date is over here. Or maybe let's come back over here and place that with email. I'm just removing this email, and I say that email is not necessary. Email is not required, right? So I come here, and inside that div, I'll just place, for example, small text. I can place a small text, and this is small text. You remember that small text is what? Small text basically create a little text that can work, that you can use to show something that you can use to work for something, right? So what I can do is that I can create a small text, and what is that class in it? Class is equal to, what is that class? If you remember, this is the class, form text and utility. Let me just do that. Right, form text and mutate, and here I'm writing optional. Right, let's save that. Let's run our document. Now I've made that, you see, optional. So whatever you like. If you like to have this optional word, you can go about that. Maybe you want this optional with some others as well. You just copy this one from here, and after that attribute, you can just go and mention that. Date after date, let me just do that after date. If it combines with that date, it should be. Yeah, so it's basically just occupying that position, and we can just check. We can place that inside a div, and then it will just part of it. It will be part of it, as it is the part of this one. So you see here optional. So optional basically makes what? Optional makes your element as an optional one. It will become an optional element. Like you can just mention that to your user that this one is an optional one, and I don't want it to work on. So far so good. Everyone is getting that. Everyone understanding that. So you see that sometimes there are few things that you might don't find in your maybe Bootstrap 5, the latest version. I don't know why it is not there. It has to be like it's to be supported. But again, sometimes it might be just taken out from this one, and it has been placed somewhere on that other things, layout maybe. So today what we have seen, effectively we have seen that we can just place few things in the grid layouts as well. Now in the next session, what I'll tell you is that about this on submit and grid validate form. We'll talk about some of the functions that we can use. These were all the validations that HTML5 technically is providing us. But we need to have some of the, some of the validations that our forms do not provide us. Rather, like our HTML does not provide us. Rather, you will need to write a JS file like script.js. So script.js, and where I can write, for example, a validate function. So one of the things that I want to discuss here is that in a form control, if you give something like this, which I've given, on submit return validate form. So this return validate form is basically a validate form function that will return a true or a false. And if it returns a true, then form will be submitted. Otherwise, form will not be submitted. Right? And I'll tell you all of this about that. But again, what we can do is that we can just access that. So if you go to your notes for this week, let me just tell you a few things. Not week 10. I want to go in week 11. I'll be just leaving you with to ponder. You have to just read all these notes. This is very important, and these are very important because it is just telling you that what is the client side validation, what is server side validation, how to do client side, after how to do server side, all those things, and as well as it is basically just it is just basically giving you the right. So when the client side submission is done or validation is done, and when server side validation is done, all those things are basically over here, and there is the okay. And this week I think we are going to have our test as well, like test 5, if I'm not wrong. I'll have to look in my whiteboard. This is our week. Yes. So we are going to have our test, like this week as well, and I'll be taking that test on our next class, in our next class. And the contents will be, as you see, if I can show you the contents. The contents will be 9th and 10th weeks, because we have talked about the 7 and 8. So 9th, 10th week will be the content, right? Any question thus far from anyone?